Shit.
We're live, pal.
Hey, this is Chavo Guerrero Jr., and you're watching THS Wrestling. Viva la raza.
What's going on, everybody? I feel like I'm a stranger in my own home because I have not been on that is wrestling show in quite some time. But I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be driving for Pingle filling in, and I am joined by Flobo and Jimmy V. How are you guys doing today?
Good. It's been an interesting week to say the least.
I have no idea what you mean, Jimmy V. What do you mean? I just watched NXT UK like it was normal. No, I got you. Yeah, it's been a crazy week, man, in wrestling. And with Summerslam on the horizon, my favorite time of the year, man, it's a lot of news coming out. So I'm excited to be here.
A lot of news, which we will get into a lot of news that this week has been very interesting, as I feel like all of 2021 wrestling since January. I just feel like it's just a reoccurring thing of releases. But before we get to all those things, let's talk about SummerSlam. Like Flobo said, we have a ton of events. So if you're going to be in Vegas, guys, remember, I've been saying this. If you watch the weekly 10-minute wrap-up shows that I do on YouTube, which is at #ShowTV, you would know Friday, the first thing, noon to 5, we have Wrestle Swap 2 at the Space in Vegas. Friday again, 1 to 4, we have Republic of Lucha pop-up with the Lucha Bros that will be there. Friday night, 7 p.m. Guys, we're just not sleeping. We're just burning all the oils and candles of all the sides. I probably won't be even drinking, to be honest, because this is just a lot of work. Friday night, 7 p.m. That's right. A live taping of Talking Shop with the Good Brothers. The Hoots are back, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be there, of course. Actually, I've been planning a little something with the Good Brothers, so let's see how that works out. Friday night at midnight, this is going to be special. This is going to be a doozy, guys. Again, if you're in Vegas, you don't want to miss all these. Murder, Death, Karaoke. Yes, Murder, Death, Kill. The man himself, Nick Gage, will be hosting a karaoke night, and we will be in the building. Someone probably may die on the mic. We don't know. I don't want to say that. I don't know what's going on, but it's a crazy night. And then, of course, we have SummerSlam on Saturday. Not to mention, how did I skip over this, Jimmy? We have a pop-up with Demandies that we're doing. We're hosting a pop-up with Demandies.
Come and check out these donuts, people. Saturday.
Come and check out these donuts. Don't understand how I let that slip.
Oh, we're at the Space?
In Space, is at the Space, yeah. So everything is at the Space in Vegas. If you want, let me finish. Saturday night after SummerSlam, the last thing is the DZ and Friends Summer Slamtacular. That's right. If you like Dolph Ziggler and you like his comedy, you will like this show, because not only will he be there, but his friends will, as the marquee says. Don't know who those friends are because he's a bad guy. He's a bad guy in wrestling, and he doesn't have any friends. But that is at the Space as well. So, again, if you are in Vegas, SummerSlam weekend, Friday, Saturday, probably going to do something on Sunday, and then you come to LA and see Limp Bizkit on Tuesday. It's a great time. Come and enjoy us. Come have fun. Make sure you follow us at ths.wrestling on Instagram to get all that information, tickets, locations, exact times, where Jimmy will be in his 3-piece suit. in the middle of summer in Vegas. It's all a great time, guys. But
dude, I'm packing nothing but tank tops. I don't know where you're coming from with that.
Dude, 3-piece suit to Vegas. That's how you die at Murder Death Karaoke. You just might sweat.
Listen, it's already going to be 112 degrees in the desert. As much as I want to look fly, that ain't happening.
Jimmy is coming out with a bang. That's all. That's all I know. But guys, as long as we got that business out of the way, let's get into the business of the week that was in professional wrestling. And let's start with the NXT brand, not NXT UK, because apparently you guys are just untouched and unmatched and can just do dope shit and not and not be touched by the colossal of Nick Khan.
Literally on an island. They're literally
right.
on an island. They're just
literally on an island. But we all seen what happens when one thing gets to an island. If you've seen Quiet Place 2.
It's a good movie.
So, great. Yeah, great. I watched it on a plane yesterday or this morning, like however you want to say it. And that was the wrong thing to do. Watching that movie on a plane with turbulence, it was the wrong. But let's not talk about my dumb mistakes. Let's talk about NXT's dumb mistakes. So, NXT has released, I mean, a ton of people, and just the people with names that you may know, like Jake Atlas, Mercedes Martinez. I don't know, the recent North American champion, Bronson Reed. They have all been, Bobby Fish, they have all been been cut from NXT. And not only have they been cut from NXT, word has came out from Bruce Pritchard, Vince McMahon, and Johnny Laurinaitis saying that no more midgets. So,
over 30.
Or over 30. So I asked you two, and I want to start with you, Jimmy, first. Do you think, are we witnessing NXT turning into the old time developmental, like a OVW, like a FCW, etc., etc.? Are we witnessing this right in front of our eyes?
Oh, this is happening. I would say more FCW than OVW, because OVW was at least like given a lot of freedom, where FCW was fully under the WWE umbrella. I would dare say even like in the very, very first days of NXT, when it stopped being the game show and became the developmental brand, we're seeing that. And I don't know how many people watched any FCW matches over the past like number of years, but you know, there were a lot of good matches, but it was very bland because of the oversight to it. And it wasn't until NXT really got its footing as the brand when they started adapting more to the cross of indie and WWE style. And that became the NXT style. So for that to be gone, like, yeah, we're basically back to square one with FCW. And you're going to see like really bland and really unoriginal like gimmicks and whatnot. And I'm not looking forward to it.
Just before you go, Flobo, let's just say what's up to Matthew. What's up to Michael? He says you're a legend.
Yeah, Sock Monkey Mike.
Yep, he's definitely not telling a lie. And then we have Ken as well. Man, I miss all you guys because I haven't been here, so I miss all the regulars. But go ahead, Flobo. My fault. I had to say what's up to him.
Just styling, profiling there, Neeson. Damn. I am a little concerned here with NXT. Much like what Jimmy V is saying, there is an ebb and flow to the brand. And it doesn't seem, to me, NXT Prime, 16, 17, top half of 18, that was like the best wrestling on the planet. I'm a bit more, I would say, bullish on it. I feel like there is a kind of hubris thing happening now where it's understood that people will buy into the brand itself. So what we're seeing now are the cuts that are saying, okay, we're cutting these people based on age, based on contract, based on whatever, but people will come in and tune to NXT because of NXT. We've experimented moving nights. We experimented having our newer wrestlers on screen, and our ratings have been the same. Why do we have these expensive contracts? Why are we holding on to older people? It's a very corporate way of looking at things, but I don't say it's OVW, only because OVW was like at the beginning. The PC is made to keep you off of TV for as long as they possibly can, then dark shows to put you on TV. But like Jimmy V saying, it's definitely more of an FCW thing.
Yeah, and if I could compare it to something recent, a very popular movie came out this weekend called The Suicide Squad, and it came out to rave reviews, and it was lauded for its creativity and originality. And the biggest thing about that is, a lot of people may not realize, is that the reason it's so good is because there was basically zero oversight from the studio. They basically let the creatives do whatever they wanted to do. They trusted them because they were in good hands. That's kind of like how NXT was. Everything was left to Triple H and Shawn and Norman Smiley and that entire crew, Sarah Amato. But then once, over the past year, we're seeing more oversight from guys like Pritchard and Vince and Johnny Ace. And the more oversight means more of a watered down product from what it used to be. You can say, it's partially the pandemic's fault, which it is, but they took a lot away from what NXT used to be.
Okay. So me and Pingo have had this conversation over the last week, and seeing that, and as you know, Jimmy, and even Flobo, I said it multiple times on the show, WWE is Disney. They're not worried about anything but the bottom line and creating so much content that you can go to their hub and watch any and everything and not leave. Like, that's what it's about. It's not about actually the art of professional wrestling. They stumbled upon this thing, this developmental turned their own in-house indie competition that was making so much noise that was bothering the Disney. It's like DC. It's like DC TV was like, not DC movies, of course, because it wasn't to Suicide Squad, guys. Come on, like, all those other movies are trash. But DC TV was making all this noise, and Disney was like, all right, well, yeah, guess we'll wait till we get our little streaming service going on. Then we get our own little TV shows, right? Like, they had Titans, they had Doom Patrol, they had all these things. And NXT was that. It was the redheaded stepchild to, no offense to redheaded stepchilds. It was the middle child, no offense to middle children. It was the neglected, quote unquote, stereotype of wrestling that us older fans especially, yearned for. And WWE had no problem with just giving us Cena every night, Tuesday, Mondays, and Thursdays. They didn't care about catering to us. And I felt like once AEW consistently beat them weekly and showed that, they're not going anywhere, and it's nothing that you could do to stop that. I think the pandemic really, really hurt NXT because they were on a roll, especially going into 2019. Like you said, Flobo, it was 2018, but I think going into 2019, Survivor Series and all that, like, it was on a roll. Got cut, moved forward. They couldn't have fans in the arena. They start doing the studio tapings. Once you start exposing a lot of those wrestlers and who they are with no crowd, that started hurting them. And then you start looking at all the champions at the top: Roman Reigns, Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, the contenders, Brock Lesnar at the time, Goldberg. These are all big, meaty dudes. Big E. Like, these are just big, meaty, muscle dudes that you can't see them going against Johnny Gargano. You can't see them going against Bobby Fish. You can't see them going against Tommaso Ciampa. You have Karrion Kross winning NXT championship for a reason, and I said that. Karrion Kross is not a NXT star. That was the wrong decision of having him be in here in the first place. And we see what's happening now. And I think now they're just going to go back to let AEW be the small guy territory, quote unquote small guy territory. Let them be the indie territory. And we are just continually developing super pop, crispy Jonas Brothers type of stars. It is Disney, and it's such. It just sucks because we have people like Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. The list goes on and on and on and on. Where do you see those people going? I know we'll talk about the supposed meeting with Adam Cole with Vince McMahon, but where do you see them going in the future? How would they be looked at in this new quote unquote NXT?
I mean, unfortunately, there's no reason to believe that anyone is safe, At this point, anyone can go. So unfortunately, I won't be surprised if some of the formerly top names are gone. I won't be surprised if they'll let contracts run out and then they'll just say bye-bye. We don't care about re-signing. Like, this is just the reality of it now. And it's sad because, like, NXT is for the foreseeable future going to be staying at the Performance Center. We don't know when we're going to see NXT live events again. Yeah. That's the thing. We're not going to see NXT live events for a long time, if we do. But here's the problem. If we go towards this FCW type NXT, that'll really show once those arena shows come up again and Vince is like, oh, well, book NXT at the same venue. And then all of a sudden, like, why are only half the seats filled? Well, it's because you made people care less about this product.
That's a hard take to take, man. I don't necessarily agree or disagree with you. And I feel the best way I can think about it is if you're approaching wrestling as a corporate entity, right? Like, let's say it's Apple or something. NXT was a research and development. When it was a game show, it was because it had that hour-long slot on Sci-Fi. It didn't work. Then it became like, hey, a finishing school. That didn't work. And then they brought in a lot of outside talent to make it a little bit of that in-house indie thing. The problem, I think, with that form of wrestling is that wrestling has basically absorbed that, co-opted that, if you will. Like when someone has a new idea and Google just buys it outright, like super kicks don't mean anything anymore. Now, I'm not defending WWE. I'm not defending NXT. I'm not defending AEW here. But at some point, if you want to keep this brand fresh, you need a new chapter. What trips me out is that it decided to be this week. Like it decided to be this year. Usually errors are more gradual, but I can't see them relying on Adam Cole forever. Even though Adam Cole is amazing. I'm not the biggest fan of Ciampa, but I can't see them relying on Ciampa forever. They need the next thing. And so it may be a down period, but I hope just for the sake of having a brand to exploit and leverage for merchandising and putting the show on different networks, that a new flavor will have to be developed or else it will die off.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. It's just where do you go though? Like you're taking stars. They didn't release people that didn't have potential to be over or weren't over. I mean, Bobby Fish was he was just in one of the biggest factions that WWE ever had.
Yeah.
Right. So he just had a match. You had Tyler Russ, which was a part of one of the dopest new factions.
No, what? Diamond Mine was dope? Come on.
What?
Come on.
It had so much potential. It had so much potential, but we'll never get to see it now.
That's what I'm talking about. Here's the thing about Diamond Mine. Not the point, Nisa. I know this is not the point of everything. I'm going to cut you off and dominate your show. But Diamond Mine was an idea. For weeks, I was on board. I was like, okay, cool. They came out. They looked pretty strong. Malcolm Bivens, right? Top manager of all times, right? Fantastic. But then they beat down, what was it, Kushida? And then they were off TV for 3 weeks. Then it was one promo, and then they were off for 2 weeks, and they had 2 matches. Like, if they thought that was a big deal, you would have had promo packages. You would have things backstage. Like, Hit Row was established. Imperium got time to establish. Diamond Mine was like, we here. Now we're not. Now we're not here no more. So I don't think they were that dope, personally.
I mean, this is where the oversight thing comes into play again. And I've heard from a lot of people in different conversations of just how, the ebb and flow of creative is just like unpredictable. Like no one can tell like which way to go they're going to be going, and basically no one can agree on something. So something might get started and then all of a sudden they'll be like, no, we're going to move to this now. It's basically what's happening on Raw. It's just happening. It's now trickled all the way down to NXT, and basically now NXT, which, they're not main roster, no matter how you look at it. They're not main roster, but now they're feeling main roster effects all the way down at the PC.
Oh, okay. Look, coming for Diamond Mine. What I'm saying was they had all the potential, and mainly I say that because of one, Malcolm Bivens.
Okay,
he made me care about Roddy Strong. I didn't care.
Who else in the group? Suzuki didn't give him a microphone.
Exactly.
They haven't given him a name yet.
They haven't given him a name yet. Come on.
I was like, I'm sure they wasn't. But all I'm saying was, I'm sure they wasn't gonna give him a microphone. Come on, guys. Let's be real. WWE. But I mean, I really like the potential of what Tyler Russ had. I was really for him. So just seeing him, it made me care about Roderick Strong and just Michael Bivens being able to have his own thing. And I was hoping that he could get a big bad muscle guy. Maybe that guy that's managed by Eva Marie's same manager, or the Steiner kid. Like that would have made I was literally interested in seeing what this would play out to. But you got Bobby Fish gone. Who knows what's gonna happen with Roderick Strong? I'm scared that soon after this, after Sunday, after Takeover, that Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly may be gone as well. Like it just makes everything so uncertain. And then after they all leave, why am I watching NXT? Like, why do you want to watch NXT on Tuesday nights? What's going to make you tune in?
Right. So the core players.
Besides Hit Row, because Hit Row is come on.
Don't get me started. Hit Row Neva, man. And you're a music guy, man. That's another faction I got my problems with, but I won't get into that. Look, I understand what you're saying, man. I love that core too. I was a Balor guy. To have him just leave NXT and be on SmackDown does seem they're going to implode this, but mainline WWE is like, look, we are the product. Whether or not you care if Bianca is going to wrestle today or you're going to give you a bunch of trainees, you're going to watch WWE. Fans go to see what's on WWE tonight. It is like a Broadway play with understudies, right? But you look at the releases. They are people at the other. Robbie Fish is 40. Mercedes Martinez is 40. You have guys that didn't really establish themselves as well, like Tyler Russ did as well. So like it seems to me they're going for more of a homegrown talent. Now sometimes homegrown talents work out. Street Profits, Bianca Belair, they're fantastic. Maybe times they don't work out, like a Velveteen Dream. But now more than ever, you have to control the entire image. They brought in Adam Cole to give them sense of legitimacy. Adam Cole has his name. He's Adam Cole. They're Kyle O'Reilly. There's Tommaso Ciampa. Those guys leave now. The whole kind of energy goes with them too. It just seems like it's a future-proofing move from a company. Why they're doing it, I have two theories. We might get into it, but it definitely seems they want to control the narrative of their talents.
Well, you know what? You said we might get into it, but let's get into the last thing on NXT is that we have the last two things. We have NXT changing so much. Do you think it's still going to stay on the USA Network? And do you think that this is a long play to make NXT a quote unquote non-third brand to bring it back to just being a digital platform? Let's go with you, Jimmy.
I mean, I can honestly see them going straight to Peacock. NXT is only pulling in around like 500 to 550. Somewhere around that number a week. If USA happens to find like a better program that fits that slot, then I can see it being easily replaced. That's no knock on anyone at NXT. That's just how the show's that's what the show's drawing right now. So them going to just Peacock is, it's going to save them money. Might cost them a little bit of sponsorship, but they won't have to worry about the production value nearly as much.
As somebody who has unfortunately worked in TV, man, the reason why when there's a pandemic, there's Netflix specials doing stand-up comedy and wrestling, it's dirt cheap. Now, 500,000 is not a lot. I think AEW gets double that. I think Raw is 3 times that. SmackDown is 5 times that. But if USA ran Transformers 4, they're getting like a fraction of that, right? So it comes down to the beans. If 500,000 people come and they can somehow track them engaging with State Farm and Liberty and Truth Campaign cigarettes, they'll keep Domino's, past Blue Ribbon. If they can find a way to track that, they're going to keep them around. So I won't say it's impossible, but I do think USA will give them a lot more rope than what we're seeing in the dirt sheets.
Okay. So then the final question would be, is Adam Cole staying with WWE? I just want to go around the table and ask your opinions and thoughts because let's not forget, he has his best friends over on the other side. So do you think Adam Cole is staying with WWE after SummerSlam?
If I was Adam Cole, I would, but that's just me personally.
Why?
So you have the friends over at AEW. You have yourself with the elite and your fiance is there. But I can guarantee, even though Stanford is an at-will state and they can terminate every contract you want to, the platform is bigger. Not so much the viewership of the shows, but I'm talking about those bump appearances. I'm talking about flying you out to movie premieres. Those things have value. Now, if Adam Cole's like, nah, I want to be wrestling people, I want to be fresh matchups, by all means, jump and go. But objectively, the only thing he'll hesitate is saying, how stable is my job? And if you look at AEW, they're taking on people, but people disappear too, like Joey Janela or Mel or Sonny Kiss. Like, it's not the golden pasture everyone thinks it is. It's like, this is like Netflix. It should be on Netflix. Great. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be the main guy. Christian went over there, and I'm a big Christian mark. I think he should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. But he comes out, what, every 4 weeks? 5 weeks?
Well, he's undefeated, and he talks about the title all the time. So come on.
Yeah, he's talking about it, bro. But like, is that really, like? No, I look at this too, man. It's not AEW's fault. It's not a responsibility to put everyone to the moon. There's people have to slot in there, and we can all imagine Adam Cole lifting up the AEW championship. We're not dumb. But I'm just saying there's so many people already there in line. If I'm Adam Cole, as decimated as NXT is, that brand kind of needs you. If you move me up to Raw and SmackDown, that brings the credibility to Raw and SmackDown. So, like, I would think I'm more valuable to blue chip there. But it's up to what Adam Cole wants to do.
I mean, let's not talk about moving up to Raw and SmackDown because, again, NXT does not exist on Raw and SmackDown for some odd reason.
It's weird.
But, yeah. Jimmy?
I mean, the funny thing is that how many people you think watching Raw and SmackDown right now even remember that Adam Cole main evented SmackDown with Daniel Bryan? I would say, I mean, we remember, but like the general audience, I'm going to go ahead and say most of them don't even remember that because it was such a blip on the radar.
No, I'm just kidding.
Here's the thing. We also don't know what happened behind closed doors in that supposed meeting he had with Vince during SmackDown. Like the rumor is that he signed or he was being offered $1 million contract while possibly staying in NXT because they want to keep him that much. Whether or not that's true or not remains to be seen. But the thing is that money a little bit, too good to pass up, or is it better with his friends and his fiance? But also, like, I'm basically saying this could go either way because the greener pastures of AEW, like, look where, just as an example, where Andrade is right now. How many matches has Andrade had since he's been in AEW?
But does that matter though?
I mean, it doesn't. It doesn't.
He's on TV every week.
He is, but how good are those segments?
Yeah, that's the point. You could be on TV all the time, and he can bring you in as a star until the next star comes in. You brought in Andrade, but if Adam Cole shows up, Andrade's being pushed to the side.
Yeah, like Andrade, honestly, like the steam from Andrade immediately got like brought down by so much once they brought in Malachi Black. Like, I'm way more invested in Malachi Black, and Malachi Black had a main event spot on Dynamite within a few weeks.
Well, we also know that Kenny Omega and Andrade are coming up next week, right? I believe at AAA, because sometime around, it's August 14th. So
that was announced so far ahead that I completely forgot that was happening.
Right. So I think once that happens, we'll see more of a thing with Andrade, because then he could talk about possibly beating Kenny Omega, and that's Kenny Omega losing his first title. That could be the trickle down effect to him possibly losing the AEW title, which we'll get to. Matter of fact, which we'll get to. Let's get to AEW right now, ladies and gentlemen. I really love AEW's energy right now. Like the way they're telling stories, the way they're, I mean, it's not perfect, the way they're putting TV together, but man, it feels like I'm reading a comic book, and every time I'm turning a page, it's something new and refreshing. And are they just trying, right? And that's all we want. Like, you're trying. And so one thing that happened this past week was this elite promo with the basketball. We had Carl Anderson that had on a Bollywood shirt. We had Gallows with the Ric Flair robe. We had the Young Bucks with the Hawaiian a la Bray Wyatt type of gear. We had Kenny Omega with the Cookie Monster shirt, CM. It was, am I missing one? No, I'm not. So it was such an Easter egg thing that it just shows how tapped in the AEW is into the internet audience, but which is all of us, all audiences are internet audience, I feel like. They're just tapped into their grown adult product. When you guys watch AEW and you see these Easter eggs, does it make you more invested into a CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Bray Wyatt, all these people they're talking about bringing in? Are you more interested in seeing them in AEW, or are you like, AEW has enough? I know we kind of touched on it, but I want to hear you go more in depth. Flobo, let's start with you.
Yeah, those guys are blue chip or free agents. If you have a chance of bringing any of those guys in, why not? That'll help out your brand. My only gripe about AEW, I know it says like I bashed them or defend WWE a lot. I get that a lot on my own shows too. My only gripe about AEW is that in this quest to appeal to wrestling enthusiasts, I don't know about you guys, but I got 30 years watching this stuff, right? It's in my blood. I'm married to it. I can't leave it. Is that a lot of times they rely too much on that nostalgia or reference or being that Deadpool kind of like self-referential stuff, which is great for us because we can say super kick party all you want. But you look into the crowd of these people who buy tickets, they're just lifelong fans. They're enthusiasts, right? So I wonder, and I know it's a teenage product, but I wonder what's going to be the appeal for that next generation. I'm not saying appeal to kids. I'm not saying that. I'm saying is there's going to be a time where Shawn Michael references are not going to hit. There's going to be a time where CM Punk is not going to be. I mean, the Pipe Bomb promo was 10 years ago last month. Like, there's going to be a time where you have to rely on your own things, your own stories. Even Kenny Omega, he's a champion now, and he became the champion because he went back to his cleaner days in Japan. If you were an American audience that found AEW and didn't watch Japanese wrestling, you had to stop and go back and do homework on this new character. And so that was always been my disconnect with their storytelling. But that all aside, to answer your question, yes, that stuff is great because if it does come in, it goes, okay, AEW has the coup. They shifted the energy. They're the ones to watch on Wednesday nights.
Before you go, Jimmy, I just want to say, Flobo, to your point about, keep going back in the past and referencing these things. One of the greatest rappers of all time done that his whole career. And I would say he made it out pretty okay with it. And that man goes by the name of Sean Jay-Z Carter.
Okay.
And I think when I look at AEW and them doing that, they do it because they can pay homage to the people that pay their bottom line. Mm-hmm. Right? Like the people like me, you, Jimmy, they know now. I feel they are doing enough of the current stuff of telling the story. Like, you don't have to go back and watch quote unquote cleaner Kenny Omega, but they did enough where you're interested to just watch this. Like if I didn't know about cleaner Kenny Omega, I wouldn't care. Like I'd be like, oh, I get it. He's coming out with a sweeper. He's talking about being a cleaner. Not even saying he's a cleaner. He's the collector, and he's collecting all these belts. Like he's coming out with all these belts on. Where is it from? Like now I may go watch these other promotions. I won't watch it. But these other people, yeah, I may. But these other people may. So it reminds me a lot of Jay-Z and what he did with Biggie. And how people talked about like, oh, all you just keep relying on is Biggie, and you're using his lines, you're biting them. And he was like, no, like literally, I'm paying homage. I could do this without it. And what did he do since the Black Album? He hasn't used the Biggie quote yet. Like it's the thing of like, now you built that equity, and now it could live on forever, and you could do whatever you want flawlessly. So I think in 10, 20 years, because I see AEW, if they keep on this pace and they keep just listening to the people and not wanting to do what they want to themselves or listening to what the other side is doing, I think they'll be in a prime position to be here for a long time.
True, yeah.
So I think, to your point, though, I think that's why they do it. It's just to pay homage and to wet the whistle. But Jimmy, I would love to know, what do you think of all these Easter eggs and rumors and just how AEW is handling this buzz they have going?
I mean, my thing is, no matter what, like they have my attention. They 100% have my attention with all these news and rumors and whatever's on the sheets. Everything that's happening with these Easter eggs, like with this past promo, single take, by the way.
Single take.
Everything like Easter eggy, like that's just icing on top of it. Because that's the thing, like people say Easter egg, but like I say it's more trolling than anything else. But that lends itself more to those guys with those characters right now. So we can talk about homage and like, retro or whatever, like, but that's also still just a fraction of AEW's product. And this is just a small part of it. So, like, I think this is them just capitalizing on the interest that people have in them. So if they can build off of that, and especially the fact that they're doing it with heels, that makes it even better. Like, the Elite are the guys right now who are dicks who can pull that kind of thing. You can't really do that with, like, Dark Order or anything like that right now.
If we're talking about Elite and heels, we have to mention, which I don't have in a run sheet, Cody. He is a heel, and he is part of the Elite. So, guys, how do you feel? Because I know I'm excited that Cody now gets booed because I feel like he's been a heel, at least during the whole pandemic, especially since that terrible I have an interracial baby. It makes me a baby face. I saved America and saved racism.
That was dope.
That's it. We're done. We're done, America. That's all we needed.
That's all we needed.
Homelander, bro.
Yeah, Homelander. Yes, that's exactly what Kenny is. But with this, how with Malachi Black, Dark versus Light, him continually getting booed, Malachi continually getting cheered, them refusing to turn him heel, him faking to retire, giving the Ric Flair cry every single time. Do you think we are going to finally get a heel Cody Homelander Rhodes flow, bro?
This is something people were asking for. Like, I understand the Cody thing of seeing Impact back in the day and be like, okay, I'm not going to be king of the mountain. I'm going to get myself away from the promotion. I'm going to be the hour one main event guy. I respect that back then. But it's really getting to the point where, like, imagine the 5-star Michelin chef open up a burger joint. It's like, yo, you're capable of doing more. Like, what are you doing? Just schooling on these fools who are way beneath your class. Like, okay, yeah, Andy Go-Go was a great fight. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. But you knew when that bell went off that Cody's going to beat the black off that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was this thing where it was like, we're tired of it. I hate to compare it to Cena because Cena had a whole different set of issues, but it was almost like okay, what else can you give me? What else can you do? So I'm glad the fans are not just blindly cheering them because I always have to wonder what these fans were about if you really want something fresh and original. And so Malachi Black is way more interesting because now we're seeing a character where for years we've heard that was in development that never got the time to come to fruition. So yeah, man, I'm glad people are deciding, okay, Cody, what else you got? We're moving on to something more interesting.
All right, Jimmy, Rolander. What about what do you think of Rolander?
That's a good one. I mean, bleach blonde coming out to the red, white, and blue. You know what? I'm just, I get this whole Cody shtick. I just think he's done it for way too long now, and I'm very over it, so I understand why he gets booed. The thing is that he's said in interviews that he's over doing the heel thing. He's done it for years, and he doesn't want to do it anymore. But if your character benefits from going in the direction, I don't see how you can deny it. And he's the one who talks about being from undesirable to undeniable, so he should know more than anyone. Cater to your audience.
When does he play the heel for this long? Like, this is the thing about, I get it, he did Dash and Cody Rhodes, but even that, he was a cool heel with Dash and Cody Rhodes. He wasn't like a heel. Yeah, like,
he's never been a full-blown heel. Like, if you think about it, his most heelish thing that he's ever done was be a part of Legacy. And you certainly cannot count his time in the Bullet Club because, once again, cool heels.
Stardust was pretty much a heel.
I mean, it was a heel, but it wasn't like it was a weird gimmick.
Try to slow push in. I could just stare into the camera as you push in and say Stardust was a heel. Give me the Jada Kiss push in right now. Just to.
Yo, Stardust was a heel, man.
I can't deny that. I can't deny that either. He was a heel, but he wasn't like a heel, so to speak.
Yeah, I got you. That was a weird match he had with Stephen Amell, but yeah, I got you.
Yeah, like he's not he's the heel, but then at the same time at WrestleMania, and understandably so, he pulls out a ladder and polka dots. So
Yeah.
Well,
What about when Rey Mysterio broke his face and he became that like Phantom of the Opera dashing, where it was like the weird music, the whoa, you know what I'm saying? Like, does that count?
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
That was probably one of his more heelish runs too. Yeah.
But that was again. I still felt like that wasn't like anytime you're super charactery, like you're not a heel. Like if you're like, he's walking around, he's hiding his face in the hood. He's doing that. Like you're not a real heel to me. I just want to see you beat the brakes off of somebody and then have to carry your way out and win. Like that's a heel to me. So I can boo you, but still like be like, God damn it, he got away again. That's the heel that he's prepping himself up to be. He's talking like Ric Flair every single night, fake crying, talking about retiring. Moving on past that, because we're talking about that storyline that, talking about heels, which is going off to, I guess, promote heels or whatever the case he may be doing. And let's talk about one of the greatest storylines that's been going on for the past 2 to 3 years, which is Hangman Adam Page. Guys, this storyline, I can't speak enough about it. I think it's really, really one of the most amazing storylines in modern day wrestling history. But with this Kenny Omega and then a Dark Order, and now watching the Dark Order beat him, watching the Elite beat the crap out of him and the Dark Order stop him, him having a CD that randomly dropped and then like he left and they know, like, and it was like noticeable. So it was like this little Easter egg. So what's on a DVD, and also who still carries DVDs around to like pop in?
True.
It's just so many questions about this where we're going. But the first question is, and I'll start with you, Jimmy, do you think we're going to find our way to see Kenny versus Hangman at All Out?
Had last week not happened, I would have said, yeah, absolutely. But, they now have that stipulation where neither him nor the Dark Order get title shots now. So I think everything got put on hold, and we're probably not going to see it for a while. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see it till next year. But here's the thing. I have no problem with that. The best thing about this angle was the fact that it's been the slowest burn. And the biggest twist in this whole thing was the fact that you thought Paige was going to go heel and turn against Kenny. But it turns out all along, Kenny was the one who turned heel, and Hangman is becoming one of the biggest faces in the company. So if this becomes like, like I said, a slow burn and we don't see it till next year, I'm fine with that. But if they keep it for All Out, which I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not, given that match stipulation, I'm fine with that too.
Flobo?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same boat. Like if the Hangman Page story was one of the better ones. If you go back to that being that first contender for the AEW title, not getting it, and just growing over time, it was really one of the best character works I've seen. And I'm a character guy. So when that music hits, I get on my feet, even though I don't quite understand what the Dark Order is and what they stand for, and AEW refuses to tell me. But yeah, okay, sure, whatever that means. Is it still a cult or is it a club? Are people still hungry? No idea, man. But I do think it's time for
Johnny's hungry.
He's hungry. Yeah, there's still time for Adam Page to make that happen. Yeah, I got like Jimmy B is saying, All Out doesn't seem to be the part for that, but there's enough building blocks there. They can pretty much ice this storyline for like 6 weeks to 2 months and still come back and have enough juice for it to make that work. And that is a fantastic thing for any booker to have, to pull that trigger when they feel like it. They go, you know what? Now it's time for Adam Page to get his just desserts.
All right. Well, so let's just what do you think is on the magical DVD that was left behind for the Dark Order on the table?
I don't know, man. Rap album? Maybe got one of those Max Caster raps. No, I think it's going to be one of those situations where we're going to not say turn heel, but you're going to think less of Adam Page to get him away from Dark Order. If that makes sense.
Wow. Okay, yeah. Jimmy, what do you think is on the disc besides a terrible Acclaim mixtape?
I mean, considering this happened on Being the Elite, I don't know how much I'm gonna wait. Did it happen on Being Elite, or is it on Dynamite?
No, it happened on Dynamite.
Okay, I can see this leading to a segment on Being the Elite, because it was such an Easter eggy thing that, like, oh, we have this DVD, and it ends up being something completely goofy that just goes, BTE-ish. Other than that, like, I don't know what else it could possibly be. That because the way they had it set up is that they're supposed to be completely done with each other. So to like keep pulling on that string of having like that interaction kept between them when they should be done is kind of like pointless, I think, right now, if they're trying to fully separate them.
Well, if we're talking about separation, let's talk about the separation of Freedom of Rap and Tony Khan. So the Acclaim came out and Matt Castor did his normal freestyle thing. And he had some choice words about Simone Biles. Then he had some choice words about a Duke lacrosse raper. And then he had some choice words about a 19-year-old's private regions. So I would ask you in today's age, now, if this was Cena in 2003, 4, it would pass with flying colors. But we're living in 2021, the age of the cancel culture. Did he push it too far? First of all, did you guys hear the rap? It was on Dark. Okay. Jimmy?
Yeah.
I did not. And I didn't. Okay. I felt no need to go back and listen to it. Not saying that I would have been offended, because I realized what he said. I read it, but like, like just personally speaking, like it was a dumb move. Yeah. He probably shouldn't have done it, but at the same time, like he did it. I don't think like he should be canceled or anything like that. He just did something really stupid, and it was ill-timed, and he probably shouldn't have done it. But this is just chalk this up to a dumb mistake that he shouldn't have done. I don't think he should be like, people are calling for his firing, and
absolutely,
and
absolutely, bro. Like, no,
Flobo, yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, Jim. I didn't mean to cut you off, my dude. But like, it's one of those things where, okay, we have the hip hop stuff. I remember, and I'm quoting what John Cena said: "Don't cancel me." Where he goes, "And the match against Undertaker, my chance of winning is slimmer than a bus of anorexic women." You can't do those lines anymore. I understand that. And even his verse about negative PCR test was the anti-vax thing, fine. But you can't make rape jokes. And it's been that way. I go back to 2006, 7, when ECW was on Sci-Fi. And Abraham Washington said the line, he's like Kobe Bryant at a witness for match. He's unstoppable. And that dude disappeared. You never
Was that even ECW? I think that was when he was managing the primetime players, and that was on Raw.
But still, he disappeared. You never saw Abraham Washington again. That was 2007. So you telling me out here you're making those kind of jokes with Duke Lacrosse? You know exactly what happened. You know exactly what you did. As Sammy Guevara made a private joke about quote unquote raping Sasha Banks and took a month off, and all this guy got was it wasn't. All this guy got was his boss going, "I'll review next time." Come on. Something got to be done there, bro. Something has to be done.
That's interesting. I heard the Rupla about it, right? So I'm like, all right, let me go watch this thing, because who watches Dark, guys? So I watch it, and and yeah, it wasn't even that good. And I think we have this thing in society, like if it's so intelligently done and spun the right way, it creates a lot of room for forgiveness. And it's like, oh, okay, but that was creatively amazing. Like you walk this edge or you walk this line, right? Like you can do that if it's creative. I just think it was like the baseline of rapping. Like when you're writing the bar, it was just like the first pass of it. If you're writing the script, it was the first pass. There was no punch up to it. The Simone Biles thing, it was whatever. It was topical. I get it. Yes, it was no reason that rape thing should have been put in there at all. Like, bro, if you have nothing to like bring it back to where you can make the raper be painted as they are, then that should not be it. Like you should not be throwing that line at any of the people in ring that quote unquote you're supposed to be the bad. It's just bad. It's a lot of bad things all around, and I'm really trying to walk across a tight line here.
Absolutely.
The anti-vax thing, or just the PCR. I didn't even have a problem with that because I read that article as well, and I was like, wow, okay, well the PCR test, this is crazy. But again, I just think you have to be. You can be topical, but you also have to understand You have to read the room. This is not the time to be promoting non-backs thing. Like, this is not the time to have that conversation, my guy. Like, it's not the time to promote that in a rap. I don't care what side you're on. Let's not promote it either way. Like, we could talk about something else. We're getting enough from the actual scientists and the actual doctors and the actual pundits and journalists that's actually doing the research. We don't need enough from people like you and me that's just Googling stuff. Relax, guy. Relax. And then I know people had a problem with him talking about old girl, the wrestler, that she's 19 and you don't need to be talking about her nether regions and blah, blah, blah. My only thing to combat that is, one, he didn't finish the statement. He alluded to it. But also, she didn't have a point. She didn't have a point in time to rebuttal. I don't even think she even got a comeuppance on that, right? Like, that will make the thing better. That will make it not okay, but it'll make it like, yeah, you got what you deserve, sort of thing. And I think Tony Khan coming in and just being like, I'm gonna now review everything. That's not gonna fix it. Like,
how did this go through almost a week? Like, that was said almost a week prior. How did that go by unnoticed?
That's the thing. I think Tony Khan, every time something happens, he comes out and, like, every time something happens, he comes out and says, well, I'm gonna do it. It's like, hey man, that's not the issue. Is you don't have these things in place. You've been running for about 3 years. And I understand that you are a more adult product. Let's do that. But hey, we're living in a very sensitive time. And if you're going to push the envelope, let's make sure we push the envelope or push the line, push the needle, however you want to call it, in a more intelligent manner. Like, let's be more sensitive and let's be more understanding when we do push that line. Because I have no problem with pushing the line. I want that. I want people to have conversation. I want people to feel away. I want the Twitter to go crazy and be like, fire him and all those, fire him or her and all those things. I love that. Those are things I love because it makes you feel away. But they should not have anything to stand on. They actually have something to stand on right now. Like, you talked about rape. That's a no-go, bro. That's a no-go.
Right. At TV 14, any kind of sexual reference has to be consensual. Like, as dumb and as sleazy as a live sex celebration is, to this day, I always put that at the edge, being like, why do you do that? The idea was Lita wanted to do it too, quote unquote. It was stupid, but all right. But the moment you go to a case that's like, what, 6 years old? In a rap now, just to be provocative, like at a stand-up comedy show, people want to cancel you. People buy a ticket, they listen to you tell jokes. You can imagine flipping a channel to watch, or YouTube to watch wrestling, and this is the deal you're getting? Absolutely not, man. But yeah, the PCR stuff is dumb, but okay. There's a Simone Biles thing, edgy. I get it, because mental health is one of the things that are hard to quantify. I disagree with that personally, but that's all fair game. But rape is one of those things you cannot go and go, all right, now we're going to wrestle. Like, it just doesn't, it doesn't
You can't. There's no way you can do that. You cannot do that. That's exactly what I'm saying. You cannot do that. So before we get out of here, we can touch a little bit on Raw and SmackDown. Guys, I'm going to be honest. AEW really had the most of my energy this week. I did watch Raw, I did watch SmackDown. There was only a couple things that stuck out to me, and I would love hear some things that stuck out to you. But first, I want to talk about how grown and what time machine and what HGH that Goldberg's kid is taking, hopped in, etc., because that kid was just some little kid at WrestleMania, whatever it was in Orlando, and now this guy is a grown man looking like, he's about to go buy some cigarettes and a pack of condoms. So what are we about to see him versus Hook in the near future? Like, what's going on?
Someone book that right now. Gage Goldberg versus Hook. It needs to happen. Have their dads with their corner, not get involved. Gage versus Hook needs to happen.
Lord. I for the FCW championship or just no stip? Like, what was the game? What's the game?
No, he has to be
for their father's pride.
Father on a pole match, guys. Whoever gets their fathers down first.
Damn. I don't know what he's taking. Gage grew super quick. I don't know if it's Lunchables. I don't know what they're putting them things, but that dude is a grown man now.
That's a grown man. Like, that is so nuts to me, like, that he just grew up that fast. So that's one take. The second take, we're talking about Simone Biles. Charlotte I don't understand why people are missing a mark with this Simone Biles thing. And I get what Charlotte was trying to say, that I feel I empathize with her because I'm the greatest, and people don't understand why I need a break and why I just my mental health. And I get that, but it was just very clunky. Um, what is it about just people not being able to land this Simone Biles reference, trying to bring pop culture together? Because clearly they're just missing the mark.
I think it's because like it shouldn't be done to begin with. Like yes, it's topical, but like when you're using that as an excuse for something like that's a big larger issue, like I don't think it should be done. And in Charlotte's case, well, actually in both of their cases, I get it. They're heels. They're trying to capitalize on that, but you're basically just hitting the low bar. You're not even really being creative with it. It's just like, oh, this is the thing that people are talking about, so I'm going to reference this in order to make myself be a heel. And in Charlotte's case, I'm just going to keep yelling until people listen to me because I'm the best.
Oh my God.
I mean, she is, though.
Oh God. Okay.
Look, man, I understand being topical. Wrestling's always been about that. Whether or not on the SmackDown when the Indians became the Guardians, like 3 wrestlers mentioned that just because like it's just that's what they do, man. It's cheap heat or cheap pops. That's just the way to get the crowd engaged. Now they have crowds again. So again, right. I think it was clunky. Mental health was one of those things you can't really quantify. So again, as a performer myself, I wouldn't even try to, but I can't knock them for trying something clumsy as hell. So
here's the thing. I feel like I agree with both of you guys. It's just that if you are aiming for something that is in the pop culture ether, you don't aim for something that's polarizing per se, especially if you're a heel, because as much as mental health is a real thing, guys, et cetera, a lot of people disagree with Simone Biles. A lot. If you look at those mentions, you see under all the posts and stuff, they're calling her some quitter, all these things that are like, it's a thing of like, it's so polarizing that her saying it just has people sit down. You basically get no reaction. And that's what really happened. Like she said it, and it was just like, like it wasn't a thing of course, like, don't talk about Simone Biles. That's how I felt. But like you heard it in the audience, as much whack pipe sound they try to pipe in. People were sitting on their hands. Moving on to that, we did have a pretty fire match of a no holds bar match at the main event, and for the crowd to basically chant Becky in it. I know Ronda talked about it. What is it going to take for one, WWE not to pipe in sound anymore? And 2, for the crowd to be truly invested into Nikki, almost a superhero. That was my best Nikki Cross impression.
I was on point, man. I loved it.
Could use a little work.
Thanks for being honest, Jimmy.
Cheap heat, dude.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like, coming off the Thunderdome era, they're like, hey, we can do this now and just continue piping in, crowd noise. And the unfortunate thing is, I think they're just so used to it that they're going to keep doing it whenever they feel the need to, regardless if it's needed or not. As far as trying to get Nikki over, you know what? Like, the thing is that you needed more of a story behind her in the same way that Bayley was so successful in NXT because people saw her journey. With Nikki, it was more or less a costume change and then her saying inspirational quotes. I think it's great, but I think there needed to be more to that as opposed to just the quick turnover. And then for that quick turnover to happen, and then she wins the women's title. Like, that happened very quickly.
Flo?
It's kind of a moot question. I think she's already over. And I know it's a really hot take. Wrestling fans my age poo-poo on it, and rightfully so. Because Nikki Cross came one day, wore a mask, and she has her underwear outside of her pants now. Being like, I'm a superhero. And you're like, huh? You know what I'm saying? And I still don't buy her as champion. But I can tell you what, my buddy who's a casual fan that watches it with his kids switched from Sasha to Nikki. She comes out now doing the Rey Mysterio high fives. Like, I understand if you get to a certain age, you go, oh, this is too kiddie. I'm going to AEW. That's fine. But young Flobito remembered watching Tatanka because he didn't lose a match. Young Vobito saw Duke Dumpster Drosy, who was so strong he wrestled on weekends for fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a different demographic. And to be fair, Ricochet tried doing the superhero stuff and didn't work. But right now, it's kind of like, why would you hate on Nikki Ash? It's like she's just doing Instagram quotes. You know what I'm saying? Why boo that? Like, live and let live.
I agree, man. I actually came around on Nikki Cross when they gave her the new music, and I was like, oh, this is a thing. They're sticking with it. This is pretty amazing. It reminded me of a live action Freakazoid. I was with it.
Freak out!
I was with it. Yeah, freak out. that's what I think when I see it. Yeah, I mean I like it, but I just feel like it feels very, and I know this is kind of oxymoron, I guess, with wrestling, but it just feels very forced down our throats.
Oh yeah,
and it's just, I feel like she is over, and because one is people our age love Nikki Cross. Now seeing her put the work in and get this thing, so we're like, all right, we're rolling with you, but then it's like, all right, stop stuffing it in our face. We're rolling with you, sort of thing. Like the fake crowd noise, the over the top baby face promos. Like, sure. It's all these things that just turn adults more so like, all right, I know this is not for us, but do you have to keep reminding us that it's not for us? Like, we get it.
Let me ask you this, Neeson. Who was left on Raw? I mean, as much as I love Rhea Ripley, she did not connect with the audience on the red brand she did in NXT. Charlotte Flair has pretty much been done. Basically, her last 4 title reigns was to put other people over. Asuka's MIA, if not all out injured, and Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are kind of in a mess. And Alexa's on her own island. There are no baby faces to touch. So I understand where you're coming from, but there was nobody left until the draft. So yeah, you're gonna get Nikki ASH all up in that face.
And you know what? And that's the bigger issue. I never want to see WWE release another woman from the roster, any roster, for the next 4 years. Like, you should not be releasing any women from your roster because of the point that you just made. Now, I would say this. Rhea Ripley it was a little clunky. It was a little fumble out the gate when she didn't have a crowd. But I think with her not having a title and her being in front of the crowds, you can't visibly see the reaction she's getting. I don't always trust it because they're piping in sound, but you can see them standing up when she comes out. You can see them reacting to her when she's in a ring. So I do think that now this is the time unfortunately, she has to play that game which she played 2 years ago when she lost at WrestleMania, and then she went back to NXT, and then it was this whole thing, right? Like, she has to play that game all over again. But I think this on this round, this game, this go around, it'll be a lot more easier. The last thing I want to touch on is you spoke some blasphemy about your friend's kid switching from Banks to Nikki Cross. I don't know how. Like, this kid needs to be checked.
I can tell you why in a minute.
Yeah, the Banks effect, guys. Sasha Banks has been back. It instantly SmackDown. They're book ending it with Roman and Banks, and it just feels good. SmackDown hit over 2 million, and it hasn't been that since she's been gone, pretty much. Are you excited to see just the dream matches that we got? Tegan now. Tegan looks like she's in the best shape of her life. She's really. I'm sad that she's with Tamina, but going against Tamina, but she's looking amazing. You have Shotzi, and then of course you have Bianca, and then really after that, then you have Zelina. But after that, the women's division fades off on SmackDown as well.
Carmella.
After that, the women fades off on SmackDown as well. And that's no disrespect to Carmella, but they just have treated Carmella like shit, guys. Like, she should be a top heel, period. But they continually treat her like she's not a top heel. They continually treat her like she can't talk. They continually treat her like she can't wrestle. They continually treat her like she doesn't have like she could have, not even saying she does, but she could have one of the solid gimmicks. They gave her heater away to Nia Jax, and now he's running around doing Cirque du Soleil for the 24/7 championship. Like, What are we
Way
doing
wrong.
with Carmella? But that's a whole other conversation. But with Sasha Banks, I want to ask you guys: is there such thing as a Sasha Banks effects with ratings, with the excitement of Bianca? Because I haven't been really excited with Bianca with Bayley for the last whatever months. But with Sasha and Bianca too, and with dream matches, what do you guys think of this Sasha Banks effect, and why is that child sick? Flobo.
Yo, the reason why Sasha Banks, for me, is fading off for a while. Like the Four Horsewomen, I put Sasha Banks up before, and I get a lot of heat for that. But the reason why she's changing is that when Sasha Banks was in NXT, she was actually arguably one of the best. She was the boss. She was the whatever, it's boss time, Michael Cole would say. And I can't tell you what that character is anymore. She dresses well, but she is the boss. What is that? I remember when she feuded with Carmella this time last year. You had Carmella coming out with the wine sommelier looking a certain way. If I was ascribing these two women to someone who has never seen wrestling before, you could argue that Carmella was more boss-like than Sasha Banks. She had hold on. I'm character-wise. I'm talking about wrestling skills. Character-wise. So she was gone, and I understand that. Sasha Banks was gone. WrestleMania was a fantastic thing. 2 black women main event at WrestleMania. She's coming back now. That just shows you that is an over-reliance of that 4 horsewomen again. So yes, Sasha Banks serves that. Yes, she has her own effect. Yes, that match at SummerSlam is going to go down, and yes, I have to admit that Bianca Belair's title run so far has not been that great. But I don't want to call that Sasha Banks effect necessarily. I don't want to say that, oh, if she was gone, it was whack. It's just kind of like WWE has to find out what the next generation is going to be. Now, rip me into me. Go ahead.
For the boss, the blueprint, the standard, the GOAT, the queen of the cell, the draw, the DDT, and Boba Fett Mandalorian, Sasha Banks.
Is that you?
The SB Award winner as well, yes.
Dude, are you been working out? Yeah. Okay, I want to say I don't like you at all.
yeah, I got yeah.
Okay.
But Sasha Banks, guys, like that is she is the boss, she is the blueprint, she is the standard, she is the GOAT, she is the SB Award winner. She is
who is she? Who has she been the past 2.5 years aside from Bayley? And that's the thing.
Has she been?
Yeah, who has she been? So, like, we talk about character stuff, and this is what I'm saying. Like, people get bored of characters. Sasha Banks' talent, I'm not denying. She's the best seller of them all. She can make everyone look good. Her ring awareness is top notch, but her character hasn't moved. Now, she doesn't have to. Cena's character hasn't moved either. Neither has Randy Orton. She doesn't have to do it. But I think
Sasha Banks is a missionary every day, all night.
Over and over.
And over.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, for a kid, they want that simulation. They want that what's going on. That's why Alexa Bliss dolls are going off the shelf. So that's why I can tell why a young girl is like, okay, superhero. Hey.
All right. Jimmy.
So I have to say there is a bit of an effect. I mean, it's kind of hard to deny. Like, I don't think you could have been more excited for a women's title match at WrestleMania for the main event had Sasha not been involved. In my opinion,
Decent is doing the Sasha Banks over here. Was he?
So here's what I actually think. They should start doing with Sasha what they're doing with Roman, and basically just have her appear on the show and talk, but you don't have her wrestle until the pay-per-views. You save that so that way the allure is there for people to see Sasha even more. Because she can do that and she can bring out the best. And also, it's going to be a lot easier on her body, considering how much she's probably doing, like, outside of the ring when it comes to, like, now her crazy schedule with, like, acting and whatnot. So I think that benefits both sides by having her as the attraction in the same way that Roman currently is.
Hey, well, look, you're not gonna get any arguments from me there, pal. Guys, we're at the end of the show. We have to end it now since Flobo just attacked Sasha Banks, and he's a Sasha Banks
Bayley
player.
guy,
and
man. Sorry.
Wow, he's a Bayley guy.
Yeah, number one on the planet.
What? When? Where? How?
Number one on the planet. Last year's PWI. Number one on the.
That was the stupidest ranking ever. How do you have her?
Whatever.
That was dumb.
Wow,
that was idiotic.
PWI is dumb. All right, welcome to that.
Yeah, PWI. Yeah, come at me, internet. It's dumb. I said it. You know how to boss the blueprint, the standard, the GOAT, the DDT, Mandalorian, the SB award winning Sasha Banks, the main eventing WrestleMania as your number one?
She was 4 that year, I think. 4 or 5.
No, she was 5, which was stupid.
Yeah.
Why even have them 2 on the cover? You had 1 and 5 on the cover.
Yeah.
1 and 5. And I forgot who was
top
above
5.
them. We went down. I went off on that actually. Because we went down on this show and we talked about it, and I snapped on every single one of them.
I think I have a copy of it here, actually.
Oh, you should. Oh, really?
I bought the copies here, right there. Bam, bam. There it is.
Where do you live at again?
Jimmy, where you live again? Help me out. Yo, Jimmy, help me out. See,
I'm out.
The 4 horse
in outer of Bray Wyatt. Let me Firefly Funhouse it. Nah, guys, look, it's been fun. I am glad to be back. Glad to talk the great sport of professional wrestling with you guys, as always. Give me what you've been going on. Well, how can they follow you? Plug some stuff. Since Jimmy is to my my left, screen right. Jimmy, what you got going, man?
Come say hi if you see me in Vegas. I'll be at the space for throughout the weekend. Not the entire time because I need to get my time in at the craps table. But yeah, come and say hi. Socials right here on Twitter and Instagram. And yeah, that's about it.
All right. Flo, what you got going, man?
I got tickets to my reservation. No tickets to SummerSlam. I might show up at the space for a couple hours. Why not? Yeah, you can check me out at youtube.com/FlowBoyBoys. I'm trying to get your boy June to get me tickets at SummerSlam, man. Help me out here. Otherwise, flowbito.com, FLOBITO.com.
Awesome. We'll work on that. Try to get June to get you some tickets there. Guys, if you follow me on Stay Fly Life on Instagram. A video that I directed just dropped for an amazing artist. That is an artist of a person you may know. That I just got back from Chicago for. So it was really incredible. So please go check that out. Go watch it. The song called A Wise Tale. The group is called Abstract Mind States. They are the first artists under Yeezy Sounds. And of course, Yeezy Sounds is from a guy by the name of Kanye West. So it's been a really crazy experience. I really appreciate it. If you just go check out that video, go press play. Just type it in, Abstract Mind State, A Wise Tale. And go do that. Go do that for your boy. Other than that, you make sure you check in with us on Instagram, THS.wrestling throughout the week, especially for the updates on those SmackDown events. And YouTube, right now, where you're watching this, probably YouTube or Facebook, but especially if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Hit the notifications, hit the like, do all the things that the teenagers tell you to do that I'm telling you to do. Other than that, I'll catch you next Sunday along with the boys. And catch us in SummerSlam. Come have a drink with us, man. Like, we're outside. We're vaxxed and waxed. It's a whole thing, guys. Or some of us, whatever the case may be. Yeah. Catch you then. Right. We're drinking. I'm going to get a drink. I'm going to buy everybody a drink. First round's of drinks on me.
He said it. He said it. We're doing it.
I said it. I did. First round of drinks on me, guys. if you're drinking water. All right, guys. Have a good time. Make sure you tune into that hashtag show for everything trending in geek